Haïti pas péri, même si elle a souffri, n'a toujours espéré, ça y est pour changer, oui ça y est pour changer. On essaie bien, oui tout ça nous dépassé.
Exploration of linguistics, multilingualism, and language policy, with a specific focus on the relationship between democracy, human rights, and languages discrimination, spanning from Haiti and Creole to global contexts and to the situation of many multilingual and discriminated or marginalized communities around the world. So please join me in welcoming Michel DeGraff, Department of Linguistics and Philosophy at MIT, USA, and Djeride Jean-Baptiste, Communication Officer at MIT-Haiti. MIT-Haiti has been founded to promote technology-enhanced active learning and the use of Creole in science, technology, engineering, and math disciplines to help Haitians learn in the language most of them speak at home, which is the most important thing we want to focus on today. The title of their presentation is MIT-Haiti as one basis for mother tongue-based multilingual education in Haiti. MIT-Haiti comme fondasyon pour edikasyon miltileng qui basé sur langue manman and Haiti. Sorry for my Creole pronunciation, but I give it a try. Thank you. I give the stage to you. Looking forward. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you, Marco and Ashta, for the invitation. And so we have slides to share, so we're going to share screen with your permission.
Yes, absolutely. You are
great.
very welcome.
All right, so let's do that.
Let's try. Yeah, perfect. It's working.
Okay.
Good.
It's working perfect. Okay.
Sorry, I wanted to ask to the people. I'm so sorry to interrupt you now, because I remembered now that
that's fine.
I wanted to tell the audience that we are going to record this speech. So please, if you don't want to be seen or taken, just close your video, and then you will just like no appear in the video. So sorry for I don't mention it before, I just remembered it now.
Thank you, Marco. So it's morning for me and Djeride. So those of us who are in the same time zone, good morning. And I think in Bergen it's evening, so good evening for you all in Europe. So this is a dual presentation across several time zones. So I'll present the first half, and Djeride, my friend and colleague, Grenadier Djeride, will present. Grenadier is a term in Haiti for a fighter. So we see ourselves at MIT-Haiti as fighters. So Grenadier fighter Djeride will present the second half. So our topic today, as you see in the title, is MIT-Haiti as one basis in Haiti, of course, for multilingual education based on the mother tongue. And this is very timely because Haiti has been in the news. But one thing which is often not spoken about is some of the origins of the crisis that we're living today in Haiti. And that crisis connects deeply to the issue of language and education. And as you'll see as we present this plenary lecture. And right now in Haiti, there is currently a historic effort to improve the school system based on scientific findings in the science of education, especially multilingual education based on the mother tongue, which in Haiti is Creole, Haitian Creole, we call it Creole in Haiti. So both we both of us are very thankful to our hosts for having invited us at this timely moment to this plenary lecture, which we hope will also reach our colleagues in Haiti, policymakers, educators, parents, students, and others. So that's why it's being recorded. So, and I appreciate your willingness to record and to be part of the recording. So to start with, why is this topic so important for Haiti? And why do we even need to talk about it at a conference? Why has it created the need for us to debate this question at this conference on multilingualism? And the controversy, actually, for us to understand it, we have to go into the wider historical, political, and geopolitical context. It's a very long story that we cannot detail here given the time, but we've done our best to summarize it on this slide, which also gives a summary of the presentation. So we're going to start with some contextualization, going back to the past and the present, and with a eye to the future, looking at Haiti in the Caribbean, its linguistic context, and especially the language ideology in Haiti. And then we'll focus on the use of language and education as tools for neo-colonialism. And then we'll take you to a future of decolonization and liberation that Djeride and I and our entire team with colleagues in Haiti and abroad, we've been working for through the work of the MIT-Haiti initiative. And we'll talk to you about our efforts to try to change the current situation. We'll look at the current debate on what we need to do to change it and how to do that. And looking at MIT-Haiti as one approach in that logic for a paradigm shift, really, in the context of a decolonial perspective on education, which relies in turn on multilingualism and then that's very crucial, with the mother tongue as a foundation. And at the end, we'll see a bit of how MIT-Haiti is making a difference and how our approach can perhaps be modeled in other communities where local languages are still being excluded or being stigmatized or devalorized in education. So now let's look at the historical and geopolitical context. So Haiti, as many of you probably know already, is a former French colony. And as a colony, it was characterized by brutal enslavement, slavery, and a very productive, a very successful plantation-based economy. It was so, this is Haiti here, as you see in the Caribbean Sea, and this colony was so successful that it was called back then La Perle des Antilles, the pearl of the Caribbean. Of course, it was a pearl for the Europeans, not for the Africans, of course, because as you know, some of you might know already, Haiti was the first country that fought successfully against colonization and slavery. So back in 1804, we permanently abolished slavery, and it was the first time in the history of the so-called New World. And this is where the formerly enslaved Africans created an independent, determinately independent nation in 1804 already. And I like to say that Haiti is where the Black Lives Matter movement started long before hashtags. Let me give you a bit of a summary of that history. So in 1791, that's when that pearl of the Caribbean started to come crashing down. That's when the revolution begins, which led us, after a major battle against France's army, which was then led by Napoleon. So this is where Napoleon got defeated, which often Europeans and even French children don't know about. So in January 1st, 1804, having defeated Napoleon, we became the first free Black nation in the Americas. And you should be asking, because if you know a bit of the history of enslavement, the Europeans brought Africans from a large swath of West Africa and Central Africa. So they spoke many languages. So you should be asking, how did the Africans manage to unite against the French and fight as one successful army with so many different languages from Africa that were spoken among them? Back then, there was no Google Translate. There was no ChatGPT. So how did we do it? Well, the answer lies in the power of language, especially of the emergent lingua franca that eventually became known as Creole or elsewhere as Haitian Creole. And our founding father, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, he understood that he had to fight both the hard power of the canons and the soft power of language, of French culture and language, even as his troops were battling the hard power of Napoleon's army, which was sent to Haiti to restore slavery, and if need be, to commit genocide, to kill all the Blacks and replace them with newly enslaved Africans. In fact, that was Napoleon's goal. You know, when we revolted, there was a clear order. If we cannot win that war, let's at least try to make sure that we get rid of all the Blacks. And then hopefully at a later point, replace them with newly enslaved Africans. And Dessalines, he was reported to have said when he was addressed in French by a locally born white landowner, he said, why speak another nation's language when we have our own? So this is the last three lines that you see here. Why speak another language when we have our own? So Dessalines clearly understood the power of language, in this case, the power of Haitian Creole to unite Haitians against the colonist power, the French. Now, if we move forward very quickly to the 21st century and we look at the social-linguistic context today, this is what we have. We have all Haitians speak Creole. Most Haitians speak only Creole, and some 5 to 10% speak French and Creole. So Dessalines was right already back then, and it's even more true now, that indeed Haitian Creole is the one language that unites all Haitians. And it's part of our Constitution. Article 5 of our Constitutions from 1987 states very clearly that there is one single language that unites all Haitians, and that's Haitian Creole, right? So now let's look at the ideology around the exclusion of Creole in the school system. And here, one key issue that we have to understand is the ways in which language and education have been weaponized in Haiti as instruments of neo-colonization, which in turn has made Haiti the most impoverished country in the Western Hemisphere. Notice that I'm using the participle impoverished. I don't use the term Haiti as the quote-unquote poorest nation of the Western Hemisphere, which is often what you hear in the New York Times, in Fox News, is in major European media, that Haiti is the quote-unquote poorest country of the West. Clearly, there is no country that's intrinsically poor or poorest. Countries are impoverished, like Africans were enslaved. Africans were not slaves by nature, they were enslaved. And the same way that historians have to understand the processes of enslavement, we educators and linguists and social scientists, we need to understand what are the processes of impoverishment that have made Haiti what it is today, as you hear in the news. And here again, we have to understand the politics of language and education as instruments for impoverishment. And because one picture is worth 1,000 words, as the saying goes, look at this picture. Okay, so this picture here is of what we call in Haiti a symbol or jeton. So these are images, these are posters that are used to punish children, so children who are caught speaking Creole, for example, in the classroom, would be asked to carry these posters on their necks or have to display it in the, on the desk. It says, I must always speak French in the classroom, otherwise I'm the gorilla of the class. Now, just think of Haiti, as I mentioned earlier, as being the first nation founded by free Africans that were formerly enslaved. It was, the country was founded on the notion of every human being is human. Tout monde c'est monde. That was the slogan of Dessalines. Let's fight to establish our humanity. Now, to think that 2 centuries after, a child in Haiti is being told that he's a gorilla or she's a gorilla because of speaking the same language that Dessalines said, this is our langue à nous, this is our own language. Now imagine the contradiction. So how did we get there? How did we get there? We got there because the French understood that they might have lost the military war, but they understood that language and culture are instruments of power. And today in Haiti, French is indeed a tool of neocolonialism. And so this is from in the geopolitical context, but within Haiti itself, French is used as a tool for elite closure, meaning that French is being used to keep the masses, the wretched of the earth, the wretched of Haiti, away from accessing knowledge and power. So in this context, French is a tool for social mobility. And of course, it's a very rarefied, very hard to achieve tool to acquire. And the way it works even more brutally when people who speak Creole only actually believe that they are lesser humans because they don't speak French. However, very few, given the fact that most Haitians they are immersed in Creole only, very few actually achieve that fluency in French that would make them, quote unquote, higher humans. In fact, there's a saying in Creole that says, Creole, c'est la racine, Français, c'est langue achetée. Literally, Creole is our root language, and French is the bought language. It's language that you buy. The price you have to pay to buy it is very high. It's almost impossible to buy for most Haitians, right? So the proverb translates very well this elite closure situation. Now, how did this start? So this started very soon after Haiti became independent. So Haiti became independent in 1804. In 1825 already, the French, so there was a long series of articles published in the New York Times a couple of years ago called The Ransom. So if you Google New York Times, The Ransom, you'll find a very rich documentation of how the French use gunboat diplomacy to force Haiti to pay a ransom that today is worth more than some 25 billion US dollars. And in terms of lost opportunity, it's probably more like $100 billion that really France owes Haiti, because it was a theft, one of the most spectacular thefts in human history. But alongside this financial theft, there was also an intellectual and cultural ransom that the French imposed on Haiti. And this quote that you see here is from, it's an article about the French consul in Haiti called Gaspard Théodore Molien. And he was in Haiti from 1825 to 1831. And Jean-François Brière clearly lays out the plan that Molien had to make Haiti become a dependent of France through language and education. Let's read this together. This is in French. I'm going to translate it into English. So what Molien recommends in his plan is that France should send teachers and priests to maintain and develop the influence of French culture in Haiti. Because what Molien says is that unlike the Americans and the British, what we need to do is not limit our expansion to just commerce and military power. We should include the political and cultural expansion in our reach for power. This is, and actually, francophonie, actually, Giscard d'Estaing made it very clear when he was president in the 70s that francophonie is one major tool for France's economic and political power. And what Molien wrote before Giscard d'Estaing back in 1825 is that all of our efforts should make one people, uniting the French of Haiti with the French of Europe, the French of the East and the French of the West. And we must, and according to Molien, we must therefore make sure that we teach everyone the same morals, the same principles, the same ideas, meaning, Francophile, Eurocentric ideas. And notice that there is also a racial component in this project, because he says that it will be necessary to spare the mulattoes. The mulattoes, it's a very interesting term, but the mulattoes are the descendants of both Europeans and Africans. They're called mulattoes from the word mule. So there's an interesting connection to be made here. Why are they called mulattoes? But no time, but think of it. For Molien, the mulattoes are valuable auxiliaries that will help maintain French influence, right? And the goal is to make a country prosper, which in due time will be entirely subjected to the consumption of the products of our industry, of France's industry, right? This is the 19th century. Now, if we step forward to the 21st century, we have the same political goal of France. So this is the picture of the French ambassador, Fabrice Mauriès, in Haiti. And what he wants a France to be more present, more influent in Haiti. And you're going to see how that influence translates in terms of education, okay? And then we should also, for completeness, we don't have much time, but we should also mention that in Haiti today, there is another extremely important power player, stakeholder, which is the core group. And actually this image with the flags of Canada, France, and the US, pretty much is an interesting image that symbolizes the power of this core group, which is a association of various countries from Brazil, Canada, France, Germany, Spain, the European Union, the US, the American State Organization. They all come together with the UN to basically to control Haiti, and with the declared objectives to address Haiti's quote-unquote instability and gang violence. Although the gang violence, one could argue, is very much fed from the US. The weapons that are coming into Haiti that fuel the gang violence are weapons coming directly from the US. So an interesting story to be told, but let's move forward, just to give you the lay of the land. And this exclusion of Creole and its impact on human rights, it's not just in education, it also impacts the way government works, the way the banks work, the way the court system works in Haiti. If you average Haitian, you speak Creole only, you have to face all these systems of power that operate mostly in French only, including the court. If you're Haitian, average Haitian, you speak Creole only, you go to court, most likely you're going to be tried by a judge who will insist on addressing you in French, although the judge speaks Creole as well. The judge will speak French to you, the lawyers, the prosecutors will speak French, and you have no clue what's happening as you're being tried. So sometimes you only find out whether you're going to be freed or go to jail when they take you to jail or when they free you, because you don't understand what's going on. So this is the impact of this elite closure in the everyday lives of Haitians. And so now back to education. The thing is, since 1979, we've had a visionary educator, a minister of education. His name was Joseph Bernard, and he was visionary in the sense that he understood the importance of using the mother tongue for it as the language of instruction, as the LOI, as the language of instruction. And what Bernard advocated is that the LOI should be used in the entire 10 years of what he called the fundamental school, which was obligatory. Okay, he was a visionary. And then there were other actors like Yves Dejean, my own mentor, who's now passed, a major figure in Asian linguistics. Yves Dejean created this school called Saint-Ouen-Tiflet, Three Little Flowers Center, that became a model for the use of Creole as language of instruction, as LOI. And today there's a growing movement, very much inspired by Yves Dejean, to promote the use of Creole in education. So you have École Communautaire Matinois and our own MIT-Haiti initiative, okay? Which you'll hear more about very soon from Djeride Jean-Baptiste. And now one current debate that's relevant for this conference is the issue of what kind of bilingualism can we hope for Haitian children, in Haitian schools. And there's been a debate that's created lots of frustration having to do with, is it balanced bilingualism, the idea that you can have Haitian kids becoming perfectly fluent in both Creole and French, or should we hope for functional bilingualism? The idea is that you're fluent in your native language, you learn in your native language, but then you can learn other languages, but not become fluent in them, but you can function in them within certain domains, right? And this debate actually is raging even within official documents of the state, of the Ministry of Education, right? And then one question that people often ask, which is relevant to us as linguists and educators, is whether by using Creole as the LOI, is that a liability for the child's capacity to learn French? That is that, I know because when I was a child, that's what my mom told me. As a child, my mom told me, if you speak Creole at home, then your French will be deficient. That is that you have to forget about your Creole to be able to be a proper learner of French, which raises a host of questions. But what we see is that this debate, we find it even today, even among experts, okay? So I'm just going to go very quickly through some 40 years of debates, so forgive me for that. But I just want to highlight the way in which experts have obfuscated the issue, even experts that are linguists and educators. So this is Bernard reform, which we can take as a benchmark, because the first reform that promoted fully the Creole as the LOI, as the language of instruction. And what you see is that Bernard understood that Creole should be used as such as the LOI throughout the fundamental cycle. So as you can see in this row that's highlighted, Creole remains the LOI throughout the 10 years of fundamental schools. And then French become a secondary LOI starting in the 6th grade. And then comes this COC, this cadre curriculaire, the COC of 2021, which was sponsored by the French, paid for by the French, which was in collaboration with French experts, so-called experts. Although they claim that they want to implement the BLR reform, but what they propose is that Creole is used as the LOI in the 1st, 2nd grades, and then French joins as LOI in the 3rd and 4th grade, and then starting in the 5th grade, this is the column that's highlighted now, French become the sole LOI, the sole language of instruction. So, and what's ironic is that given this prescription in 2021, children will be learning about Creole or will be learning in Creole in French, which makes no sense at all, right? Luckily, the next year, we had Manigat come as Miss Manigat as Minister of Education, and he goes back to the announced prescription, and he has Creole as the LOI throughout all the school years, right? Which is progress. But then there's still a debate about this notion of balance versus functional bilingualism. So this is, very quickly, this summarizes the background, the context in which MIT-Haiti has launched and has been operating. So now I'm going to pass the baton, the microphone to Djeride, who will continue and tell you more about MIT-Haiti. So Djeride is setting up his screen sharing.
Good evening, good morning, everyone. Do you hear me? Yes?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So I'm very happy to be with you to talk about our work in Haiti through our platform, MIT-Haiti initiative to support multilingualism. So in this section, I will show you some of the work that the MIT-Haiti initiative has already done in the field with a view to reinforce the foundations of multilingualism rooted in mother tongue education. So by using only French, as you see with Michel, to teach literacy to children who speak only Creole, the school have created generations after generations of children who cannot read fluently and who have to be accustomed to being silent from the first day in school. So MIT-Haiti's work brings a great deal of novelty to the Haitian educational environment. We focus on 3 main approaches: education and the mother tongue, active participation in the learning process, and the use of adapted pedagogy. Before the MIT-Haiti initiative, there were no Creole language online materials and digital learning tools for education at the primary, secondary, and university level. Our online open education resources are filling a gap that is the same consequence of the stigmatization that to which Creole has been subjected. So, for the first time in the history of Haiti, Creole language materials for most disciplines of the Ministry of Education curriculum are being developed. These materials are ready to be spread throughout the country with the much appreciated support of our collaborators. We also take part of the debate through interviews, publication, and collaboration with practitioners. Our work encompasses research approaches that aim to deconstruct the neocolonial discourse and practice in Haiti entrenched in all spheres of our society. So MIT-Haiti's work, while focused on the primordial place that mother tongue must have in education in general and in the learning of other languages, is also linked to a broader work that aims at decolonial perspective centered on advocating for human children rights, criticism of the domination of hegemonic languages, recognition of Creole as a normal language for education, for science, and all function in our society. This is Professor Jean Casimir. Professor Jean Casimir represents one of the leading thinkers of the decolonial current in Haiti. In his work, he traces and demonstrates the will of Haitians to live sovereign, autonomous, and free from neocolonial imposition. In his latest book, he shows how individuals from Africa in the midst of the golden age of imperialism created a sovereign society based on political imagination and radical rejection of the colonial order. So we are very inspired by his work, and he is one of our inspiration. We don't just read Professor Casimir's book and text, but he is one of the sources from which we draw our ideas and methodology for the function of our platform. We have collaborated with him on the MIT-Haiti platform, where several of his articles have been published in Creole. We have also organized interviews with him, enabled him to speak to a wider public about his views, and thus reach a greater number of people. So now let's see the goal, the objective of our platform, of our work in Haiti. As you can see, the objective we pursue are in the line with what we call functional multilingualism, called, as we see on Michel, called by for the Bernard reform since 1979. In the specific context of Haiti, this goal requires that Creole be the first language of instruction, to which a second language, a third language, a fourth language could be added progressively during the learning process. Our aim is to help children form the first concept of their lives in their mother tongue and gradually move to other languages alongside all other subjects. In this sense, the approach of our platform, where most of our materials are in Creole and Haitian Creole, as the projected primary language of instruction. Children are encouraged to produce and participate actively in the learning process using appropriate technology. In other words, in addition to the mother tongue, we encourage the use of materials designed specifically for a Haitian audience, considering not only language, but also culture. So, while the result of this practice has been proven in our experiences in the field, with teacher, with student, other kinds of challenges arise. The idea that the French language represents the mobility, the language of use in formal spaces, including education, is still too firmly rooted in the society. This makes it difficult for us to convince other actors that the use of the mother tongue as language of instruction represent a solid foundation on which other languages can be added, offering students the opportunity to navigate in a multilingual environment while learning is reinforced. Now let's see some materials that we are publishing in our platform with the aim, with the objective to support the learning of multilingualism or the functional multilingualism. As you can see, our platform features books and lesson plans created by children from l'école communautaire Matenois, as we already seen with Michel, which has become a model for other schools in Haiti. The children of l'école communautaire Matenois are more successful compared to other schools in the area that still favor French-based education. In a context where books in Creole are very scarce, our Livre Langue Maman collection that you can find in our platform helps l'école communautaire Matenois children share the books they write with other children in their community and all around the world. This collection of more than 100 books dealing with different stories and subjects very familiar to the Haitian sociocultural context is published on the MIT-Haiti platform. The books are first produced in Creole by the children, then translated into French, English, and sometimes in Spanish. The children work on these books in team, in their classroom, with their peers and guided by teachers. The lesson plan have been chosen according to the curriculum of the Ministry of Education, and several disciplines are covered, including experimental science, social science, mathematics, and storytelling. The principle of transversality is also very much present in this approach, in the sense that even while writing story, the children are also in contact with mathematics and their own culture. This gives them the opportunity to study social and scientific phenomena, analyze them, make discoveries, and make them available to educational communities. This approach enables them to connect their own reality with that of the community in which they live. So you can see, when children know that these materials will be available to others outside their own classroom, it encourages them to put more effort and value into the text and context they developed. It's really the role of their environment that's including starting with relationship between humans, plants, animals, and all the biodiversity that surround them. Other material you can see on our platform, it is La Sirène and La Baleine, the history of La Sirène and La Baleine. It is a popular folk story in Haiti, and it is a very mythical story in the Haitian cultural world. A version of the story written in 4 languages is published on our platform. In addition to helping children delve deeper into the story, we offer the possibility for children to approach foreign languages, French, Spanish, and English, from the foundation of their home language and culture. For example, in the illustration, all the images presented reflect a Creole environment. The house in the book is a Creole house, by example. The characters in the story depict a Creole reality and culture with which our students are in daily contact. It is not so a question of making translation from one language to another. So except that everything takes place in an original space-time, very familiar to the student and their way of life. In the images inside the book, you can see children sitting at the feet of an elderly person. This reflects something very specific to the Haitian culture, where children from the same neighborhood are accustomed to getting together at night just before going to the bed to extend dialogues. Often adults like grandparents accompany their children, talking to them, telling them about their lives and experiences with a view to passing on wisdom and knowledge. Also in our platform, we have a set of grammatical rules of foreign language, in this in Spanish, written by Professor Emilio Travieso. What is important in this lesson is to understand the logic of the rules and know when and how to apply them. This does not impede the introduction of linguistic terminology from Spanish, such as aguda, llana, esdrújula, about the placement of tonic accent in Spanish words. These terminology are explained in Creole. And further, the student knowledge of Creole language is used as a resource in and of itself to reinforce understanding by drawing connections to what is most familiar to them. Also, there is comparison to Creole orthography, functions of accent marked in Creole versus Spanish. Comparison to Creole phonology, tonic accent always falls on last syllable in Creole, but not so in Spanish. In this same lesson plan, reference to Creolophone culture expand the horizon. And the lesson is story in Creole by the popular storyteller Maurice Sixto humorously portray a Haitian who had a hard time with the Spanish language while visiting Cuba because she didn't master this parent of grammar. And the lesson plan, her mistake, are used as a basis for an exercise. Creole speakers who are in contact with Spanish in the Dominican Republic or in the border are known to integrate some Spanish vocabulary into their sociolect of Creole, while adapting in a way that are directly related to the core concept of the lesson, for example, tonic accent. This is so highlighted in the lesson plan to reinforce understanding of the core concept, while simultaneously expanding the horizon to form a Haitian multilingualism that bypass Creole French binary. So, as you can see, we at Platform MIT-Haiti, we are trying to make a difference, and we are making a difference in Haiti. We are advocating for a research-based model while also showing how it can be done. We are stimulating the creativity of other actors and enabling them to have impact. We are offering teachers an open access resource library that they can share experience, that they can create lesson plan, and they can participate in this fight, in this struggle for multilingualism, a functional multilingualism, and this fight for decoloniality. Thank you very much. Merci en pile.